Welcome to this short video where I'm going to give you the practical steps to creating your reality. Because there are a lot of teachings, from the law of attraction to Neville Goddard to reality transurfing to whatever else you have, like quantum leaping, whatever is fancy nowadays. But there is truly only one underlying practical step you need to effectively create your reality. And it sounds super promising and super inflated and super unreal, but it is actually true. It also means that you don't necessarily have to remember all of these techniques and things. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but remembering all of this stuff is going to get pretty tricky, especially because there's a lot that you can learn. But as with school, the most effective learning, I personally think as well, is actually through doing. So like the first thing I want to give away is like the practicality in these things is actually applying them. So it's not necessarily studying, for example, also my courses I currently have, or whatever books I've listed, or whatever principles I've put. The principles are fun, the information is fun, of course. But the main thing is actually applying it. And then after you apply it, it's almost like you don't need to remember it because you have remembered it through experience. And remembering something through experience rather than just by information is a lot more powerful. So the one thing that you actually just need to create reality is right in front of you. It's actually awareness. This kind of symbolizes waking up, seeing, awareness, observation, all of these synonyms. Now the reason this is because, and I found this very interesting when I heard this for the first time, but it basically talked about the fact that consciousness is also defined as the power to rise above. So really think about this for a second. You have a body, so you are not the body. The only reason that I know that I am not the body is because I've been able to rise above my body. I've been able to see with my consciousness that I am above the body. I am not the body. The same with your emotions, the same with your thoughts. Like you are not these things because you have the power to rise above them. So it's very liberating and cool to realize this. And you can even take this further to another level. Like you're not the thoughts, you're not the feelings. So what are you? You are this observation. You are this I. You are this kind of seeing. That's what you are. And you could also say that God is the ultimate consciousness, because God basically has the power to rise above everyone, so above everyone's consciousness. That could be like a teaching. But even then, this teaching doesn't matter, because here is the main point. None of this teaching stuff matters, because what you need to do is not focus on the information, but focus on rising above the situation. Because if there's an issue right now that is happening in your life and you are emotional about this issue, let's say there's, for example, fear involved, or let's say there's doubt involved, it doesn't really matter. You are never going to be able to solve this problem or achieve this goal or do whatever you want to do in the most effective, simplest, least effort, least resistance way without, and you guessed it, rising above the situation. Because then you start to see, oh, this is actually not me that's having this fear or doubt, because I am not this fear, I'm not this doubt, I'm also not this body. I'm able to rise above the situation, and I'm able to see clearly what's actually going on. Maybe if I can give you a quick example for this video specifically, because I was contemplating creating some slides and then, I don't know, writing some text on it. But I started to realize that I kind of had a bit of doubt about my ability to share this information. I was kind of like, well, who am I to tell people that it's just so simple? Like, who am I to tell people that it's so simple to create your reality? Like, it's literally just rising above the situation. Like, how many times do I do that? A bit of self-judgment, a bit of doubt coming up. But then I was able to rise above the situation. I was able to see this doubt. I was able to see this body. And I was able to see that I am not these things. I was able to rise above and take control of the situation as a result. Because by actually rising above, what you do is you take control of your consciousness. And when you take control of your consciousness, you can decide what you do with it. And if you are going to do nothing, so if you don't rise above the situation, what you actually are doing is not anything. And that means you're just going to immerse in whatever is happening. So if you are currently experiencing fear, if you do not rise above the situation, you're going to be trapped in this fear. So you have to rise above the situation. Well, it's never trapped because you're always able to break free, but you do have to actually rise above the situation. So this is literally it. If there's one thing you take away from this entire community course, from everything in life, it's the power to rise above, because that is the essence of life itself. Because life is the ultimate, you could say, riser above everything. So keep that in the front bit of your mind. Get a tattoo of it. I don't care. Write it on everything, on your whiteboards, on your mirrors. No, obviously don't go crazy with this stuff. But that is really the main thing. Because as soon as you rise above, what also happens is you're going to start to see the information you need. So let's say that you don't have a clue of how to solve this problem. It's probably because you don't see the solution. Because you don't really solve problems, you just become aware of the solution. That's pretty much how I see it. So as soon as you become aware, as soon as you rise above the situation, potential options are going to start appearing. For example, what you need to visualize. Or for example, what you need to act on, where you need to go. All of these things are going to become clear. And it's not because it's hard or easy, but just because you rose above the situation. Rose, I don't even know. Because you rose above the situation, you were able to see the option that was the most optimal for you. Okay? So that's really like the first step of reality creation, is just rising above the situation. And none of the information in the world will help you if you are not aware. So if you're not actually this person that is aware of himself and aware of what is happening, none of it will matter, truly. So yeah, you may ask, then what's the second step? Because I think I told you at the beginning there were two. So the first is the power to rise above the situation, the power to become aware, the power to become conscious. And not just in the typical ways that you probably know, but actually doing it. So right now, while you're watching this video, you might think, I am aware, I have risen above the situation. But then as soon as you start thinking about something, you have lost your train of thought, and you're kind of completely lost. And you don't even know what's happening, you don't know where you are, you don't know what you're doing. You might think like, yeah, I know I'm here sitting right now watching this video, but are you actually aware of it? Like, you have to understand that this is not an intellectual thing. The whole point of reality creation is in awareness. And the thing is that it's not intellectual. So you actually have to take the action of waking up, of becoming aware. You cannot do this through reasoning. That's the main thing. And as many times as I would like to say this in many different ways, that is about it. That's also the reason why I made this video quite simple. Because why I just started with this eye. And why I just used a whiteboard. Otherwise I would have put up slides. But truly it's not complicated. The main thing is actually doing this stuff. That's what you need to do and to know. Otherwise nothing will work. Otherwise you will struggle because you are going to be unaware of what is actually happening. So you need to wake up. You need to become aware. Enough of me rambling. The second point is actually creating your reality. Now this is actually simple. So the main thing is actually in step 1. And then afterwards it's really simple. You just decide to focus your attention on whatever you want. This can be done through visualization. You can also just focus your attention on a thought. So like you could say, I'm going to visualize an image. So you close your eyes. You become aware first of all, because that's the first step. And you focus on a specific image. Perhaps a house you would like to buy, a business you would like to build, a girlfriend you would like to have, a car you would like to own, a motorcycle you would like to own. And you just picture that. And there's multiple techniques to make it more powerful, which I will share with you as well. But this is the first one. Or you can just focus your attention on a thought. So for example, wealth. If you want to, I don't know, like manifest wealth. I don't really like the word manifest, but it doesn't matter. If you want to create wealth, then you can also become aware first of all. And concentrate, focus your attention on the thought, on the feeling of wealth. Doesn't matter how you do this. The first step is just becoming aware. And I would want to see this as the power to rise above. So you could even say rise above. I'm actually going to write this here. Rise above. First, you rise above. And then you create. And I don't know why I did it in this order. Probably because I wasn't risen enough above the situation. It's kind of funny how this stuff works. Anyway, the first step is you actually rise above. Then you create. It doesn't matter how. It's obviously in your mind. So like rising above and then creating something here will only change the here. But reality is created from your mind. I probably will make some videos about this as well. But the simplest way to get you started with this, because once again, it's about the practice, it's not about the knowledge. The simplest way to get started is just visualize, imagine, think of something, of a feeling, of a thought, of a word, of an image. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, truly. And then just focus your attention for a little bit of time on that. And that's when it will happen in your reality. Small things quickly, bigger things take longer. Not necessarily in terms of time, but they are taking longer in terms of distance between realities. Okay, so these are the 2 basic steps. And now take action on these. So stop watching all of the videos, reading all of the knowledge. Actually apply this. Do it right now. It's not difficult. If you think it's difficult, then what is actually happening is your character, as I would like to call it, is actually thinking up stuff like this is difficult. But because you are not risen above, so because you're literally like sleeping almost, you're not aware that this is not you that's actually thinking these difficult thoughts. So you have to rise above with your consciousness and see that it is not you. See that these beliefs, these thoughts, these reasonings, these feelings, this body, that it is not you. And then when you have risen above, it becomes easy instantly. It's like, who thought that the secret to creating reality was so simple? And the main thing is just rising above. And after that, you have become aware. Then you create the reality you want. So even right now, if you want to build the habit of rising above, rise above, and then create the reality where you rise above. This stuff is so funny to kind of talk about. I hope you got the point of this video. Definitely, if you have questions about this, do ask, because you do want to do this. But if you are not sure about something, then you want to ask. I hope you enjoyed this one. Practice it as often as you can. Don't overdo it, especially in the beginning, because if you try to overdo it in the beginning, it will have the opposite effect. That's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you have any questions.